Good evening and welcome to the February 2023 edition of Curriculum Connection. I'm Medford's Curriculum Director, Laura Lundy. Tonight we'll catch up with the high school tech ed department to find out what advancements they've been able to make due to a grant they received last summer. About a year ago, the Medford Manufacturing and Automotive Industries worked together to write for a Fast Forward grant to help move our high school tech ed classes into the modern age. High school tech ed teacher Doug Eichmann explains.
It's one of the federal grants that are out there specifically for CTE and manufacturing. So we applied to that, and it's a matched grant. So for every federal dollar, it has to be matched 2 to 1. A lot of people, a lot of companies stepped forward and were willing to help us out. So we applied for that grant, did receive it.
Medford received $150,000, with $50,000 coming from the grant and the other $100,000 coming from the school district and local businesses. The Woods area received a CNC router along with other more traditional machines to help replace equipment that dated back to when the school was built.
In the Woods manufacturing area, we got a new CNC router, which is a 4x8 capable computer numerically controlled router with a vacuum table. It's more what you would see in actually industry in the cabinetry field, where students will be programming, do computer programming on it, and then the tool itself will do most of the cutting and machining on the parts that we're making. We also updated a couple pieces of equipment. So we did buy a new wide belt sander. We did have a previous wide belt sander. It was smaller and it wasn't actually working anymore. We also replaced 2 joiners in that room. Those were original from the high school. So one was 1967 and one was 1969. And then we are also in the process of replacing a planer. That one's taking a little bit longer to get because they're just on back order right now. But we're replacing that. We have some issues with our current planer right now, so we took the opportunity to update that as well.
For the metal shop, I got the new CNC plasma table. It's what they use to cut out the metal sign, the artwork that people put up on their houses, entryways, welcome signs, just yard art. So it's something that the kids can also use. They can design parts on the drawing program we use in some of the other classes, and then build their projects in metals too.
The auto mechanic area also received many great additions.
So the Fast Forward grant enabled us to get a new learning management system for engine management training for my advanced automotive students. Part of that LMS system is this training board.
And on these you can take off certain parts that go to the car, like the fuel pump. If you turn that off, it's just going to shut the car off right away. And then on the panel we've got these other prongs here. You can take actual voltage measurements on there and it'll tell you pretty close to what the actual car would be like in those certain situations.
Tech schools use very similar platforms to this. They've got them for engine management, they've got them for anti-lock brakes, airbag safety systems. Of course, in today's day and age, EVs or the electric vehicles, so they've got training boards like this. We also received a Snap-on scanner, courtesy of our local Snap-on dealer, Jake Brandenburg. It's the same diagnostic scanner that industry is using. If you go to dealerships and or repair shops, you're going to see that same scanner there. So the students are able to be trained on the stuff that they're going to be using when they actually get into industry.
In prior years, tech ed students would spend many hours on labor-intensive parts of their projects. Now with the new equipment, that will change.
We're going to take something that used to take in our manufacturing class. I mean, the groups would take a couple days to sand out projects, and now we're going to do it in a matter of probably about an hour.
Instead of having to cut it out and grind it all by hand, we can cut the holes where the bolts need to go and then just weld it together. It's a lot less labor intensive.
So this has helped kids because a lot of times sensors like this particular one, say, is buried beneath tons and tons of stuff on a vehicle, right? So it takes about an hour to get to one of these on some of the vehicles, where here we can just do it. We can get the pin readings, we can diagnose, and then when they get into the real vehicle, they basically just have to locate the sensor.
Even though the grant was announced last summer, it has taken a while for some of the equipment, like a new GPS positioning system, to come in and others to get up and running.
Some of it came down to the fact that we wrote the grant last year. It took a while to hear back for it. Prices increased, so we were kind of trying to figure out, okay, can we still get the equipment? What can we buy for the same amount of dollars? And so there was a little bit of that, and then also just getting the equipment here, because just the supply of some of the stuff, like the planer, for example, has just been, it was supposed to come in October, and then it was supposed to come in, I think, December, and then they said January, and we just still don't have it.
Even though some of the machines have only been up and running a short time, students are already enjoying using them.
So they've used some of the new pieces, like the joiners. We have them up and running, and the kids are using them, and it's a big difference between those and the old ones. So they're excited about that. I know they were excited to see the planer, although that hasn't came in.
So we use the new plasma cutter that's in the metal shop, and I cut out a sign out of aluminum and out of steel and made a logo for my cabin, or like a metal sign that I could hang outside of my cabin.
Students say the new equipment is a new experience.
The only thing that's even somewhat close is we have a handheld plasma cutter, but I've never used like a table plasma cutter that's this big.
The way we make and fix things has changed and will continue to change. This new equipment has helped us make a small step in the right direction so that our students will be ready for their next step. For Curriculum Connection, I'm Laura Lundy.